All right, welcome guys to the NBA live stream. We got 6 games to go over. I think it's a pretty decent slate. So if you guys are new to the channel, how this works is we'll take a look at what we know so far, review the Vegas odds, and I'll go team by team, talk about players I like, and we get into questions at the end. So let's start with what we know so far. And from the top, Mitchell Robinson said he will play. Mo Bamba out. Not big news there. Let's see. Wiseman available to play. Pascal available to play. Scrolling up a bit more. Goran Dragic is ruled out along with Avery Bradley and KZ Okpala. Terrence Ross ruled out for the Magic. Magic is starting MCW, Fournier, Gordon, Aminu, and Vooch. And Alonzo Ball still questionable. Derrick Rose ruled out. Alfred Payton questionable, so I have to keep an eye on that. So yeah, there is some news to go over for sure, or to keep an eye on. All right, let's take a look at these the Vegas odds. So we have Magic and Nuggets, a 217.5 over under. Nuggets are 8-point favorites. Lakers and Pelicans, a 221.5 over under. The Pelicans are 6-point favorites. Wizards, Knicks, 222 over under. Knicks are 2.5-point favorites. Suns and Heat at 214 over under. Suns are 2-point favorites. And Nets, Blazers, 231.5 over under. Blazers are currently 3.5-point favorites. And the 76ers, Warriors, 219 over under. Philly's 4-point favorites. All right, so let's start off with Denver and Orlando. And the Denver side, Nikola Jokic is a pretty good spend up at the top. Again, good matchup here. Should play 35-plus minutes. A guy that's triple-double upside like Jokic. Murray, MPJ, viable for tournament plays. Will Barton at 5.8K, I think is a decent play in the mid-range. Again, minutes, shot attempts, doing a better job stuff than stat sheet. So I don't mind Will Barton there. I'll mention Millsap just because of the price, right at 3.9K if you need something super cheap. But are we going to have to go there? You know, we might have possibly guys like NAW for value. If there's no Lonzo, we have already the Brooklyn guys, and if Harden's out, that's where you want to go strictly for value. So it's like, I don't know if we're going to have to go there to a guy like Paul Millsap. On the Orlando side, Vucevic is a contrarian spend up. Will go overlooked in the slate. If you want to pair him with Jokic, you can to get different. Not a lot of people are going to do that. I don't think that's an optimal build, though. Aaron Gordon at almost 7K. I mean, should play mid-30s minutes. Fair play, but don't love it. No thank you on Fournier. No thank you on MCW. I know, like, James Ennis had a good game last game in 21 minutes, but, like, I don't think we have to go there either. So, really, Orlando's a team, besides Vooch as a contrarian play, there's just not much here that I like. Okay, moving on to Washington and New York. So Russell Westbrook, I actually do like a lot as a contrarian GPP play. I just think people are going to overlook him. He just seems to be on again, another level right now. Last 3 games, 62, 82, and 70 fantasy points. He put up 82 against Utah with Bradley Beal playing. So, hey, I do kind of like Westbrook, and I think he's going to go low on in the slate. Beal, would rather get to Westbrook. Rui Hachimura, sure, is in play because the minutes, but not my, I don't love the price at 6K. Alex Len is in play for tournaments. You know by now that Alex Len is very, very up and down. His minutes are up and down. His production's up and down. But when the minutes are there, most of the time he will get there, right? The 2 last 4 games, he's played over 20 minutes. 33, 36 fantasy points. So I do like Len for GPPs, but the range of outcomes is so wide for him, which makes him, again, a good tournament play. Lopez will play the backup 5, probably get around 20 to 25 minutes, maybe a little bit of a safer option. I think his minutes are a little more secure, but again, Len's the guy you're going for the upside for sure. On the Knicks, I think Julius Randle's one of the top options because minutes, again, shot attempts, his ability to stuff the stat sheet, plus great matchup here against the Washington Wizards. So I do like Randle a lot there at the top. And we have no Derrick Rose. Alfred Payton is currently questionable, so keep an eye on that. If Alfred Payton misses and quickly probably will play a good amount of the point guard position, he's also probable. He'll probably play mid-20s minutes. Alec Burks probably plays more if there's no Alfred Payton, so keep an eye on that. RJ Barrett at almost 7K, sure, viable, should play around, 40 minutes, but definitely has a lower floor than Randle. And Mitchell Robinson, I don't want to get to him coming off the bench. That's really it for the Knicks. Okay, so that's 2 games up, guys. Let's see, where are we? 150 viewers, 23 likes. Can we reach 100 likes before the end of the show? That'd be greatly, greatly appreciated. Guys, it does help me out a ton if you do hit that like button. All right, Lakers and the Pelicans. So, on the Lakers, I know LeBron James, no Anthony Davis. I think Montrezl, Kyle Kuzma, and Dennis Schroeder are 3 of the better plays in the mid-range for sure. Harrell is a guy that's probably going to play over 30 minutes, a guy that's been really solid last couple games, 40 and 39 fantasy points. Keep an eye on Marc Gasol news. Let's see, not listed on the injury report. Likely miss more time he works on his conditioning. So keep an eye on Gasol. If Gasol can't play, then, Montrezl's minutes should be pretty secure. Kuzma and Dennis Schroeder, probably start and play 35-ish minutes. Kuzma shot the ball terribly last game, 5 of 16. Still went for 32 fantasy points. So I do kind of like Kuzma there. I think he goes overlooked in the slate. Pelicans have been playing a lot faster recently. And then Dennis Schroeder I do like as well, a guy that should play 35-ish minutes. So Schroeder and Kuzma in the mid-range look like pretty good. Harrell, more of the GPP play. Talon Horton Tucker got the big price increase. Not saying he's out of play, but just seems priced about right. Probably gets mid-20s minutes. Markieff Morris seems a little bit pricey. Absolutely not in Wesley Matthews. KCP and Alex Caruso also seem, priced about right, maybe even a little bit overpriced. So really the main interest for me on the Lakers side is those top three guys with Harrell, Kuzma, and Dennis Schroeder. Moving on to the Pelicans. So Zion Williamson at 8-7, I think goes very much overlooked in the slate. I think people are going to look to Harden. I think people are going to look to Randall. You got to ask yourself this, okay? This is not the same Lakers team. I know they're a good defensive team when they're fully healthy. No LeBron. No Anthony Davis. Probably no Marc Gasol. So who is going to guard Zion Williamson? Markieff Morris? Kyle Kuzma? Montrezl Harrell? I think people are overlooking that fact. Like, who is going to guard Zion? It's actually a really good matchup. So I really like Zion. I think he goes overlooked in the slate. I also have interest in Brandon Ingram, revenge game narrative. He'll play 35-ish minutes. He hasn't been as consistent as Zion, but still the upside is there. He's priced below 8K. Lonzo Ball, keep an eye on this. If Lonzo Ball is out, NAW becomes one of the best value plays of the slate. Started at point guard last game, played 31 minutes. Also, guys like Bledsoe, Josh Hart become a little bit more viable. I know Bledsoe's been god-awful recently, but again, he's 4'6". Josh Hart probably plays close to the 30-minute mark, so those guys would become a little bit more viable as well. Now, Steven Adams, I'm not really sure what to do here. 35 and 36 minutes the last couple games, but this Lakers team is pretty small, so are they going to match the small ball? Maybe go Zion at the 5? I don't know. So that's why I think Adams is a little bit riskier, because I'm not convinced about his minutes for this game. And then, if Lonzo himself plays, then that's going to take the value out of play. And then Lonzo, if there's no minutes restriction, revenge game narrative, I actually am fine with him. So keep an eye on, again, Lonzo news is pretty big. But, yeah, that's it for the Pelicans. So, again, guys, I'll get to questions at the end. All right. Let's refresh Fantasy Labs. We are 3 games up. Do we have any more news here? I think we're still up to date for now. All right, so Phoenix and Miami. This is a game that doesn't look super appealing on paper. Now, the guys in both sides I think are a little bit underpriced. So the top 3 guys here for Phoenix, Booker, Paul, Ayton, I think are all viable because of their price points. No priorities here for me. Like Booker, yeah, you can still go there for tournaments, right? It's not really the best matchup, but he'll play 35 minutes. He's doing a better job stuff in the stat sheet. Then Chris Paul's probably the safest. He'll play low to mid 30s minutes and just a guy that's triple-double upside. And then DeAndre Ayton, just because he's priced below 6K, right? 5.9. People at a box score watch and see 26 and 18 minutes, and they might avoid him, right? That's why he was 1% owned here. Well, they didn't really look into it, right? Because he was in foul trouble both those games. So I'm assuming we get around 30 minutes from DeAndre Ayton. I know it's not the best matchup, but the price point does make him in play. Rest of the Suns, no. I don't want to mess with the wings like Saric and Crowder and Bridges and Cam Johnson, and I don't want to do it on this slate. On the Miami Heat side, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo at the top. Both, again, fine options, no priorities here. Jimmy is a guy that can still go out and get your 50 fantasy points even in a tough matchup. This is a tougher matchup. Bam Adebayo, kind of the same thing. 8.1 does seem, again, it's a little bit underpriced for those two. No thank you, no Olynyk. Now, Dragic is out, so Tyler Hero, last game when Dragic was out, played 36 minutes. Did not shoot the ball well, 4-16. But hey, he's going to get shot attempts up. He does get a boost, so I'm actually fine going to Hero. Now, Kendrick Nunn, I was a little bit surprised that last game when Dragic was out, only played 23 minutes. I really thought he would play more. I think people might overlook him, but I'm fine taking a shot in Kendrick Nunn because he's a guy that does have upside. I think if he plays well to start, maybe they extend him to 30 minutes. So, yeah, Nunn is a kind of a sneaky value play that I'm interested in. Again, if he plays well, maybe they extend his minutes a bit. Philadelphia and Golden State. So, Marc Gasol out. Okay. Yeah, so Lakers, again, they're going to be more small ball. Kind of solidifies the minutes for Montrezl Harrell, right? Harrell probably will play over 30 minutes in a close game. All right, on the Philadelphia side, so no Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris at the top. I think are both decent options. Tobias has flashed more upside recently. I would say he's a little more riskier. Ben Simmons really hasn't, besides the overtime game, kind of just been settling like the 30 to 40 fantasy point range. I think this is a matchup he could have some upside, right? A guy that does, can go out and get you a triple-double. So yeah, the top two guys for Philly, I think, are both viable here. Dwight Howard, sure, if you landed him as last piece in, he'll probably play around 30 minutes. But again, would have wished he was a little bit cheaper. Shake Milton with no Seth Curry, I think gets around 25 to 30 minutes. He'll get shot attempts up. Yeah, playable. Again, don't love it, though. Danny Green, so reliant on the scoring. I hate playing guys like that. Tony Bradley will probably start at the center position, but, around 15 to 20 minutes. Not making him out of play, but definitely riskier. And that's basically, I don't want to get to Thibault or Mike Scott or like Maxey on the main slate. Just don't think we have to go there. I'm moving on to Golden State. So at the top, we have Draymond Green at 7.6K. I think he's going to go very overlooked on the slate. I do. He got injured the last game, missed some minutes. If he had this 51 fantasy point game last game, Draymond Green would be very popular on the slate, I think, right? It's just the recency bias. People are going to see that 24 fantasy point game. They're going to avoid him. I still like Draymond just because same thing with Ben Simmons, right? His ability to go out and get you a triple-double. He doesn't have to score to get there. When he actually can put the ball in the bucket, he's going to have a big game, right? 16 real-life points, 50 fantasy points. He literally, 2 games ago, had 2 real-life points and 40 fantasy points, right? So I do kind of like Draymond. I think, again, he goes overlooked. Wiggins, you guys know my feelings by now on Wiggins, but yeah, he's going to have to do a lot more offensively. 66 fantasy points 2 games ago, so the upside is at least there. It's not really the best matchup, but sure, he's in play. No on Oubre. Jordan Poole, I also think is a pretty solid play. I will mention, though, he continues to shoot the ball lights out. I always mention, I've been mentioning it like the last 4 or 5 videos, and he just continues to keep shooting well. So when the day happens where Jordan Poole's having an off-shooting night, he will probably bust because he's not going to do a ton of the peripheral stats. Wiseman is playing. Now, we don't know what his minutes are going to be. Are they going to be limited? I like him for tournaments because if Steve Kerr just says, screw it, I'm playing James Wiseman normal minutes and plays him like 25 minutes or 25 to 30, like he could crush this salary. We don't know what the plan is here since he's missed, last week due to COVID protocols. So it's just one of those where it's like, I'm good with it in tournaments, but I have no idea what his minutes are going to be like for this game. All right, final game, Brooklyn and Portland. So on the Brooklyn side, obviously the big news is James Harden. If James Harden plays, I think it's a pretty clear spend-up option. Now, if James Harden misses, then you're going to want to load up on Brooklyn, right? So like Bruce Brown, Tyler Johnson, they look like really good value plays. And Chris Chiozo then becomes in play and probably plays, 15 to 20-ish minutes. You got guys like TLC, Jeff Green, Joe Harris. They all become, viable, even though I don't like playing these guys. And then, maybe a guy like Blake Griffin at 4.9. He only played 15 minutes. That's why I'm a little bit concerned. And in his first game, he played that few of minutes. So it's like, I guess Blake could be a little riskier. Now, Nick Claxton, I think is safe either way, right? I was honestly worried with Blake Griffin playing that he might lose minutes, but he actually played more. He played 26 minutes. And Claxton's been a good point per minute guy. If he's going to play mid-20s minutes, this price is too cheap. So I think Claxton is like the safe value either way. And then those like guards, again, like Johnson. So Tyler Johnson, Bruce Brown, I also think are playable either way. Bruce Brown, I think, starts and plays mid to high 20s minutes. I think Tyler Johnson probably plays mid-20s minutes. So I think those two are in play no matter what. But if James Harden gets ruled out, then they look really, really good. And then again, you can consider those other guys like Joe Harris, Jeff Green. So yeah, Brooklyn is a team you're definitely going to want some exposure to depending on the Harden news and how much exposure you really get. Finally, Portland. So Portland, Lillard for tournaments, I think does go overlooked. With CJ back, does take a usage hit. So I think more in play for GBP. CJ McCollum, if there's no minutes restriction, I think he's actually a pretty good play at this price. If there is no limit, I think we get 35-ish minutes from CJ, which, again, I think would make him in play. Cantor, the minutes have been trending down on him, which is not great. Who knows? Maybe he plays over 30 minutes this game. If I knew Enes Kanter was going to play over 30 minutes, I would actually really like him. But again, it's not looking good recently. I know the last game was a blowout, but still, he wasn't on pace for more than like low to mid-20s minutes. And then of the wings, there's a couple guys I think are interesting here. Robert Covington, just because of minutes, right? He's going to play 35 minutes. It's an up-tempo game, so I'm fine with Rocco. And I'm also fine with Derrick Jones Jr. because the price point at 3.7K. Should play around mid to high 20s minutes. Again, not a super high usage guy, but those two I am good with because of their prices. Okay, so that is what I got for you guys. Let's refresh fan slabs. Make sure we're up to date here. Yeah, Marcus all out. Westbrook, Beal, Matthews, Rui, and Len starting. Okay, kind of what we expected. All right, so let's get some questions. 300 viewers, guys, 71 likes. Thank you so much. Again, I'll be on for another 15 minutes here to answer some questions. I appreciate it. Travis, thank you for getting us run those likes up. Thank you. Why this game going to be the late game? I know. It does kind of suck that's the late game. Tyler Johnson, best value in the slate. I think him and Bruce Brown are really good values. If James Harden gets ruled out, I have a really hard time getting away from those two. So, yeah, they're two of the better. He's one of the better value plays for sure. Salt that like button. Is CJ still limited? So, I haven't really found anything on that. I've been digging. I haven't seen any confirmation. Now, the last game was a blowout. He played 24 minutes. The previous game, he played 28. So I'm thinking we're either close to, like, basically off a minutes limit or, like, maybe he plays, like, 32, 33 minutes. So, yeah, we don't know that for sure. Cantor lock? Yeah, so Cantor, again, he's someone that I like the matchup a lot. I just don't know what his minutes are going to be. His minutes have been trending down. Will he play more in this matchup? Possibly. Like I said, if I knew Enes Kanter was going to play over 30 minutes, I would probably play him. Will we hear about Harden before lock? I would say probably not because it's the late game. 5,900 for utility. Let's see. Ooh. Couple viable options here. I know it's not the best matchup, but I just think this price is too cheap for DeAndre Ayton. So I'm actually going to go DeAndre Ayton there only because of the price. I just think 5.9 is a little bit too cheap for him. Am I reading too far into revenge game for Ingram and if Lonzo plays him also? No, I think again, the Lakers are missing a lot of pieces. So, like, I really don't think they're that good at a defensive team without Gasol, without AD, without LeBron. Right? They're going to have guys like Kuzma, Markieff Morris out there. Schroeder's not really the best. Like, there's guys that are just, like, not great defenders. So, like, I actually do like the Pelicans here, and I think they go a little bit overlooked. Westbrook, Bruce Brown, Green, Randall, Claxton, Tyler Johnson, Zion, NIW for GPP. Is that Jeff Green or Danny? Which Green are you? There's actually, there's 3 Greens. So, which Green are you talking about? What's up, y'all? I'm currently eating a parfait watching Fire stream. Appreciate that, man. Thank you. Cantor has sucked, but it doesn't matter because it's any. Yeah, I agree. Right? I like the matchup a lot. So I agree with that, Sean. I think Cantor is in a really good spot. I don't know what his minutes are going to be, right? If we go, okay, so what were the previous games for Enes Kanter? So both games against Dallas, Dallas, Porzingis, technically, I guess I don't know if you consider them a bigger team. Maybe just matchup wise. I mean, Brooklyn, let's see, they're going to start DeAndre Jordan most likely, and then Claxton off the bench. They have Blake Griffin too. So they're actually a bigger team. And this is the one I'm torn on. Again, if the minutes are there for Cantor, I think he could have a really, really good game. All right. Where are we at? Schroeder or Wiggins? Ooh, I got to go Schroeder there just because I think Wiggins is in play. I do. I don't know if I can personally. I have a bias against Andrew Wiggins. Can you fade Harden tonight? The only way, if Harden plays, the only way you fade him, you absolutely need a blowout, right? That's the only possible way that works out is you need the blowout. If Harden plays and that game stays close and you don't have him, you're gonna lose. Yeah, I'm guessing we won't hear about Harden until late. Now, it's a neck thing, right? It's like a neck injury. I'm guessing he plays. If I had to guess, I would say he plays. Neck soreness, right? So it's like, I think he can play through that. So my guess would be James Harden plays. Yeah, Zion or Randall. So this is one I was actually debating all day long. I think Randall is going to be a lot higher owned. And it's like so close because Randall's in a really good matchup, but I think Zion's in a really good spot too. Like, who is going to guard Zion in the Lakers, right? So it's like, it's basically a coin flip for me. I think Randall's going to be a lot more popular, so maybe you lean Randall for a cash game setting. I like them both a lot, and it's close. Like I said, it's really close. Joe Harris, if Harden is out, so he would not be the first guy in for me. It would be those two value guards I mentioned. Joe Harris is still going to be Joe Harris, right? He's not going to be a guy that's going to be running pick and rolls and like taking the ball to the bucket, right? He's a spot up 3-point shooter. So it's like, I don't know if his role changes a ton. Now, we've still seen a couple big games from Joe Harris. Or I think we've seen a couple 40 fantasy point games from him this year. But it's like, that's when he's shooting the ball really well from three. So yes, Joe Harris is in play. He would not be the first guy in for me. James Harden, Bruce Brown, Ingram, Randall, Claxton, Johnson, Barton, and Len. Thoughts? I think it's a good lineup. Again, a little bit higher risk, high reward. Obviously, with Len, you're playing Len. You know the risk there, right? But hey, he's played 20 minutes in 2 of the last 3 games. Randall and Jeff Green, or Gordon and Jeff Green? Randall, Jeff Green, or Gordon? Are we talking Aaron Gordon? Because it's Randall for sure. Rate lineup out of 10. NAW, Poole, Barton, Randall, Harrell, Nunn, Zion, and Claxton. What are you playing? Is it cash games or GPPs? I guess it's fine for either. I don't really know. Like, out of 10, I like it. So I don't see anything wrong with it. I mean, Nunn's a little bit risky, so he did only play 23 minutes the last game, but I think if he plays well, they might extend him a bit. So I don't know, 8 out of 10. I like it. Murray, Brown, Kuzma, Millsap, Claxton, Nunn, Zion, and Harden. Okay, so you're playing a couple of the Denver guys with Jamal Murray and Paul Millsap. Jamal Murray's been good, right? He has. I think he'll be decently popular on the slate. He's 7-1. The upside's there, for sure. It is there. My always worry with Jamal Murray and playing him in like a cash game setting is just like this low floor. Low floor if he's not hitting his shots, right? Because he's not like really your typical point guard. Like, he can go out and get you, 5-6 assists. But Jokic is going to be handling the ball a lot more, which makes him, again, a little bit more scoring dependent. I think you should be on the NBA. I just have allergies, man. I'm not sick at all. It's just allergies. You like Harrell tonight? I do. I like all 3 of the main Lakers. I think that game looks really appealing. Lakers, Pelicans. As long as that game stays close, I think that game could shoot out. Like, you could, and that's really easy to stack, especially if Lonzo's out, right? You can use NAW for value. You can pick like 1 or 2 of the stars for the Pelicans, run it back with 1 of the 2 guys from the Lakers. Yeah. Burks tonight, keep an eye on Alfred Payton. If Alfred Payton is out, I think, here, let's refresh it. I don't think we have that news yet. We don't have that news yet. So, where is Alec Burks? He's at 5.8K. Should play around 30-ish minutes if there's no Alfred Payton. Now, I do think if Alfred Payton does play, that's less minutes for Burks. So, he is priced up to a point where it's like, I don't love the price, but I do like the matchup for him. So I'm okay with Alec Burks. He's not my favorite play on the slate. Aminu for value on DK. The Magic value just makes me cringe. Like looking at any of these guys, like, James Ennis, Al-Farouq Aminu, Chuma Okeke. Literally makes me sick just saying these names. But hey, he's played, should play around 25 minutes. He's priced below 4K. He's not a high usage guy, but sure, he's in play. I just have a bad experience playing Magic value. Do you like Ayton or Montrezl Harrell more? I like that's close. I think you can get to Harrell. I'd rather have Harrell, but I do like the price tags on both centers. With all kinds of good plays, would you feel good with having lineup on? Would you feel good with having lineup on DK with players? Wait, you might have to ask that question again. Sorry. Are you saying all players under 9K? Yeah, I'm fine with a little bit more of a balanced build. If Harden's out, then you can definitely go. You can play like, those Nets value plus like a lot of the guys in the 8 to 9K range. What about Orlando versus Denver? Who are 3 good picks for each team? I think that the two centers, right? So Jokic and Vucevic. On the Denver side, there's a little bit more to like, right? So I think Will Barton is a pretty safe play in the mid-range. I think you could use Paul Millsap for value because of the price. And like Murray at the top, I like him for tournaments. On the Magic side, besides Vooch, there's really not much I love here. Like you can consider guys like Ennis and Aminu for value, but like I don't really want to play Aaron Gordon at 7K. I don't really want to pay Evan Fournier at that price. So besides Vooch, there's not much I like in Orlando. THT or Joe Harris? I might lean towards THT. I don't love THT, though. That's the thing. I don't love his price. I'd rather get to those other guys. Yeah, I think you can use Burks if no L. If you like Gary Trent Jr., he's just reliant in scoring. You can use him for tournaments, but I don't love playing guys like that. Zion or Ingram? For me, it's Zion, but I do like both a lot. You like Quickly? My issue with Emmanuel Quickly is the minutes, right? The last game he was healthy, and he only played 26 minutes. I'm a big Emmanuel Quickly fan, but if he's only going to play mid-20s minutes, then he's kind of just a secondary option. So you could play him and maybe hope, like, if I knew Quickly was going to play 34 minutes tonight, he would be one of my favorite plays. Another situation where it's like, we haven't really seen it from him in the last few games he's played. 4,400 for forward. Let's see. Oh, forward, not utility. So not really interested in Bacon, not really interested in Lee. Yeah, it's probably a Green or Millsap. I don't really want to play either of them. I don't. Or you can go Derek Jones Jr., who's at 3.7. I honestly don't feel comfortable with anyone. Guess Jeff Green if Harden's out because he's going to have to do more offensively, but he's not someone I love. I think you go either way. If Harden plays, I think you could go either way. So I think you could go Harden plus more mid-range. There's a lot of guys in the mid-range I like. Or you go like Harden and like Randall or Westbrook and then, value, right? You can pick 3 stars and go value for sure still. Forward for 4K and below, already have Derek Jones Jr. Then I guess it's Paul Millsap. Yeah, Millsap's at 3.9. I do not like playing Paul Millsap, but he played 30 minutes the last game. The minutes fluctuate. If you play him, got to hope he plays, 25 to 30. Yeah, he would be the guy because of the price at 3.9. Thoughts? Ingram and Bam as spend-ups. I think both are going to be a little bit lower owned. I prefer Ingram. I do like the matchup here. And again, revenge game narrative. He's going to play big minutes as the game stays close, so I prefer Ingram to Bam. I'm fine with Bam too. It does seem a little bit underpriced, but I actually like the matchup better for Ingram. Fade Harden in tournaments. The only way you fade him if he plays if you think the game blows out. Like I said, I don't think you do it, but hey, if for some reason that game does blow out and you fade like a really chalk Harden, you're in amazing shape. But if that game stays close, you will lose. You will lose. So you absolutely need the blowout if Harden plays. Do you think Westbrook could outscore Harden if Harden plays? Yes, if the game blows out. I think that's the only way. If Harden plays and the game stays close, I think realistically his floor is like 60-ish. Like that's serious. Like I think the floor of Harden if he plays and the game stays close is like 60 fancy points with upside of like 90 plus. Trez is safe play. With no Montrezl Harrell, they don't have a lot of options. With no Marc Gasol, they don't have a lot of options. I think he plays over 30 minutes. I like Trez. I like Kuzma. I like Schroeder. Danny Green been playing decent. Yeah, again, he's relying on the scoring. He's got a lot of like blocks and steals, I've noticed. No, he's a guy that can do that, but I don't want to rely on that consistently. All right, so keep an eye on this, right? 1 block, 4 steals. 1 block, 1 steal. 3 steals. 3 blocks, 5 steals. That has really boosted his value. Like he's a guy that, again, he's a good defender. He can go out and get you like a steal or a block, but don't expect him averaging like 3 blocks and steals a game. So just be careful that Danny Green, obviously, again, he's very reliant on the scoring besides, getting a couple steals here and there. Rui, secondary option in play for the minutes. I don't love it, though. If Magic win this game, who would be the main reason? Vucevic, I think. Ben Simmons low-owned. I don't think he's going to be super popular. He has not really been great with Embiid out. I'm okay gunning him, though. I think, again, he will be a little bit lower owned. What up, DK? Thanks for staying active. Of course, man. Going to be playing the first 200K slate, but because why not? There you go. That's about putting Harris and Simmons in one lineup, Tobias and Ben Simmons. So you can do it. I think the way I do that, though, is if I'm playing them both, I'll probably just game stack it. So, like, play Ben Simmons, play Tobias Harris, and then run it back with, like, Wiggins / Poole, Draymond, like one or two of those guys. I think I would just full game stack the game at that point. If I'm playing both them on the slate, I think I would just full stack it. I don't think Russell Westbrook's going to be popular. I don't, but I do like Westbrook a good amount here because I think he'll be low owned. I think the game stays close. Favorite Laker plays? I don't know if I have one specific play. I think that the top three guys of Harrell, Kuzma, and Schroeder all look pretty good. I would say those are my three favorite. I don't know if I have a strong lean. I think they're all basically identical price points. So I think go with what works in your lineup, right? If you need someone in the guard position, go Schroeder. If you need someone in the forward position, go Kuzma. No, I will mention Kuzma shot terribly last game. 6 of 15 or something? 6 of 18, something like that. And he still put up over 30 fantasy points. So Kuzma's going to shoot. I mean, it's always a possibility. What's the spread here? 6 points. Like, the Pelicans are not a great team, so I think the game can stay close. Burks or Will Barton? Ooh, if Alfred Payton's out, I might lean Burks. For single entry, Harden, Bruce Brown, Ingram, Crowder, Bam, Poole, Carmelo, Claxton. Honestly, wasn't really considering Carmelo and Crowder. I don't think that either of those guys are out of play. I just personally wasn't really considering them. Like, Carmelo's at 4.9, play mid-20s minutes. Crowder's not a high-usage guy. It's a revenge game. He's 4-5. Sure, they're not out of play. I'm not really considering them for myself in the slate. I think there's value guys that have more upside, I think, right? So, like, NAW, if there's no Lonzo, we already have some Nets that look good, and if Harden's out, you're going to want to load up there. Steven Adams love. I'm a little bit torn about Steven Adams because the Lakers, they're going to run small, right? Like, Markieff is probably going to start at the 5 again with Harrell coming in. So it's like, are the Pelicans going to match the small ball, or do they keep Steven Adams out there? If they keep Steven Adams out there for 35 minutes against that small ball team, he could crush. So kind of like him for tournaments, but I'm a little bit worried about his minutes. I feel tonight if I fade Draymond, it'll go off. Last night when I faded Holmes, he busted the night before. Yeah, right. So it's like Draymond had a bad game last game. He's going to be lower owned. I talked about that with Rashawn Holmes. I said, hey, Rashawn Holmes is going to be low owned because he busted last slate where he had 17. I said, this is a great spot. No one's going to play him. Sure enough, he was 1% owned, and he smashed. Kendrick Nunn or Bruce Brown right now. Tyler Johnson, Kuz, or Pascal Trez. Johnson and Kuz. I don't really want to play Pascal. A little bit for Westbrook, right? It's not necessarily the best matchup, but he's just it seems to be literally on another level right now. So he's playing great, super aggressive, big minutes. I'm still fine going him. He put 82 fantasy points against the Utah Jazz. The Utah Jazz are one of the best defensive teams in the league. Is Harden and Westbrook viable? Yes. Alfred Payton playing. Okay, so Alfred Payton playing doesn't completely take Burks out of play, but definitely makes him a little bit riskier. Now, I'm curious if Alfred Payton's going to be on a minutes limit at all. If Alfred Payton starts and there's no minutes limit for him, I actually do kind of like him as a contrarian play because I think he goes overlooked, right? Where is he? 5.2. He hasn't played since the 11th, but he's a guy that normally has been playing over 30 minutes. Good matchup. So keep an eye on that. I think he'll be really low owned. But if there's no minutes limit, I think I'm okay taking a shot on him for tournaments. All right, guys. I'm going to wrap it up here. Last question here is Trevor Ariza viable? I will say we don't have to go there in the slate. I just think there's better value already. So the answer is no. And Howard or Ayton for cash, I'm going to go DeAndre Ayton there. Even though, the match might be better for Dwight Howard, I'm more confident in Ayton's minutes. Dwight Howard could lose minutes to Tony Bradley. You never know. So that's going to wrap it up, guys. I appreciate everyone coming to check out the live stream. Good luck to you guys, and I will be back here for another live stream tomorrow. I think we have a pretty big slate, so I will see you guys all then.